Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He is my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Tonight, we're reviewing Kirk Frankenstein 1, Season 1, Episode 7, The One Mansion.
About that time.
It's about that time. They're in the mansion, dog. They're in the mansion. But before you get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and bell notification.
So you don't miss any of our reviews.
Don't miss anything, nothing. Let's get started. Boom.
Okay. So we're finally at the point where Brent and Ashley have picked all of their suitors, and it's time to go into the mansion. Remember, they have 6 each. And so everyone's going to gather together for a cocktail party / meet and greet. So we see all the guys and girls coming in, all the guys and the ladies coming in one by one. And in particular, we see Mika. You know, she's in there chilling, and then she see Ashley walk in, and she's like, "Hold up, wait a minute,
Stop the presses." She got eliminated. Well, I don't say eliminated, but
yeah, that's what she said. She got eliminated, but she actually just did not get picked. And she was like, "Wait, I'm gonna have to see why she here. Like, I ain't got no problem with her, but I feel like if he picked me, why is she here?"
And you gotta realize Mika is kind of going back to what happened. If you watched their episode, Mika had a rock climbing contest with Ashley, and she supposed to get one-on-one time with Brent. So Mika won the rock climbing contest. She got one-on-one time with Brent, but Ashley also got one-on-one time with Brent
because she came to interrupt.
And Mika felt some type of way. She's like, "That wasn't fair. That ain't right. Hold up, wait a minute, that ain't right." So
yeah, she didn't really care for that. But Brent's like, once we get in this house, I want to see how the ladies are going to interact and react to each other. But I also want to see how they're going to interact and react with the guys.
Right.
Because we know we did have one nightcap where all of them came together, and some of his ladies was really more interested in some of Ashley's men more than him. So he's like, let me see if it's going to be that type of situation again. But Brent gets a chance to talk to his ladies, and they ask him, what is it that you're looking for in a woman? How did you get to this point? He was like, I'm looking for somebody that's my best friend. I figured, let me go ahead and try to find somebody now, because I'm not doing anything but getting older. So why not, look for somebody now? Ashley talks to the guys. Her conversation with them is about how do you deal with anger. And Matthew talked about the fact that he used to be a hothead and how he would get into stuff, and it just wasn't beneficial for him. And he, he had to learn emotional intelligence and how to deal with his emotions. And he's done some counseling. He's worked on himself. And a lot of other guys said the same thing. Like Steve was like, that's the key right there, emotional intelligence. You gotta be able to deal with your emotions in a way that's productive.
Right, because Ashley was talking about she doesn't like men that yell.
Yes.
They don't like men that yell or be yelling at people. And she heard that a lot growing up, dealing with her mom and her dad because of her dad's alcoholism and what her mom had to go through. She doesn't like people yelling. She don't like men yelling at a woman.
But she was very impressed with all of them. It was good that they understand their emotions and everything. I think it's when Kirk comes in. Kirk and Tammy come in to have a conversation with them, and they talk to Ashley. It's like, okay, if you look at these guys, give me one word that you would say when it comes to these guys. And she was like, I would say truthful, intelligent. And as she's looking at Steve, she's like, I say friend. And he was like, hold on, you gonna put me in a friend zone?
I got friend zone
like,
already.
No, I'm not saying that. It's just like, a friend.
She's saying that, dog. When a woman call you a friend, guess what? You're in the friend zone.
She said she again, that all the men in the room are emotionally intelligent, and she would like to keep them all, but she knows that in the end of that night, the next day, that somebody's going to have to.
She can keep them all. Just won't be called the one.
No,
we call something else.
Called the 6.
The 6.
So meanwhile, Brent is having a conversation with the ladies about, is sex important? How important is sex or whatever? Mika's like, it's important. A lot of Jazzy was like, shh, it's important. Richie was like, it's important. But Mika's thing was, sex is important, but what's more important than that is intimacy. It don't have to be actual sexual intercourse, but cuddling, getting close to one another. Jazzy says, I have to connect with a guy intellectually first. And
that's my man Will from Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
I gotta have mental.
We gotta be mentally stimulated.
Mentally stimulated.
And so then Brent's question is, okay, so our threesomes off the table, and all of them like.
See, this is where the frat boy comes in. This is where the I see why you single comes in. This is why I see why it didn't work out with whoever. I forgot who he was with on Ready to Love, right? I forgot who that is. I see why you were at this place, because again, you're asking all these women, you want her to be the one, but you're asking to bring somebody else into the one into the relationship. How can I be the one if you asking about bringing somebody else in? First of all, as a guy, and I'm trying to find the one, I'm not bringing the question up about somebody else, bringing them into my relationship, bringing them into our bedroom per se. What was he thinking?
Mm-hmm. And most of the ladies was like, no, not getting ready to share. Now, Lisa was like, but they were like, what's this threesome thing? Like, you trying to do that? He was like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. I have done it before. And he was like, if the person I'm with is willing to do it, then what? But I was like, leave that alone.
You're asking for trouble, and that goes back to what Kirk said in the episode number 6 when he talked about the grape, the fruit, and all that. You're trying to find something different that you like. You're not trying to keep having different options. When you find the one, you don't need no one else.
Right. Just focus on that one.
Just focus on that one.
Then we flip back to Kirk talking to Ashley and her guys, and he asked the men to describe Ashley, and they say, I would say use the word rarity, accountability, class, rib, authentic. And Ashley was touched. She said, it's been a long time since I've had a man outside of my father say such, kind things and use those kind of words when it comes to me. And the thing that I was like, man, this Joker is smooth. And then, when they talked about being there, Shuvar was like, I just feel like this is a blessing from God to be a black man in the space of a black woman. Basically, it's like God ordained. I was like,
Shuvar is putting it on thick.
Okay, sir.
He deep. Go ahead, Shuvar. Go ahead. You got it. Shuvar.
A little bit.
Too much. Too much for you.
It was too thick.
Too much.
Too thick. Yeah.
Okay. But it was sweet. It hit the moment.
Like I said, Brent was having this conversation about sex when it with the ladies when the Franklins come up and like, oh, what we talking about? Oh, see what they try to act like they wouldn't talk about it all deep like that, but it was. But
we're talking about it. Ain't nothing wrong. Kurt knows.
Ashley continues her conversation with the guys. It's like, what brought you to this point where you want to find the one person? And Matthew was like, 2 days before I got here, I lost a friend that, a friend that had it going on. He was doing well in his job, doing well financially. And, he passed away. And he said, I realized, especially with that, it's time to settle down because tomorrow's not promised.
Not promised at all.
And, he got choked up talking about it. The guys were really good, confident in him when it came to it. And as a result of the conversation, Ashley says, come on, I want to go have, one-on-one conversation with you. They talked about his comments that he made about the anger that he had when he was younger. And Ashley shared that she, growing up in the household that she did have some anger issues.
I can imagine. She's mad at the world. I mean, mad at her dad, mad at her mom, mad at everybody else. But she was able to, as we see now, overcome some of that stuff.
And so they talk about that and just, share a nice little beautiful moment. And so Matthew was like, how about you put some lipstick over here? She was she said she says later, I didn't think I would kiss anybody. Like I didn't want to do that. But in that moment, when she says later to Kirk and Tammy, she didn't want to give him a kiss, but she also didn't want to reject them. Yeah. And so she gave it to her. She was like, I give you a little peck. She actually ended up giving him more than a peck.
3 pecks.
She gave him 3 pecks.
3 little pecks. I mean, it wasn't like there was no tongue. There was none of that. It was 3 pecks.
Nah. And in the end, he gave her his bracelet. She was like, oh, like you giving me a promise bracelet? He says it's something I got from my mom and says, to pray through it. And so he just wanted to share that with her. So then we see Brent have a little conversation with Ashley about And he already talked to Mika about
Right.
the fact that, we brought her back because Mika felt the type of way.
She felt some type of way.
But he talks to Ashley
because
about
Mika knows competition. You don't want competition to come back in the house.
right.
I mean, when you knew it was that close between you and her, you don't want competition. You wanted to be, apart. But anyway.
Britt talks to Ashley about her being picked. And he didn't get into how she ended up getting picked. Just know, it was an opportunity she could be picked.
She says, you got picked because I got rejected.
Basically, he ain't gonna say that.
Yeah, he ain't gonna say that.
But she was like, I want some one-on-one time with you to get to know you a little bit better. His question to her, he did ask her, she has a 15-year-old son. It's like, how does your son feel about you being in this process? And she said, my son was just like, I want you to be happy, Mom, because eventually, obviously, I'm gonna grow up and move out the house, and I don't want you, to be by yourself. I want you to be happy. And so that's where he is with it. And as Ashley and Brent departed from each other, she gave him a nice big old hug. She said, I gave him a good hug. I wanted him to know. And I gave him a soft kiss on the lips.
She did.
On the cheek, rather.
She came in.
Yeah, she was like, physical touch is my love language. And I was like, girl, you doing the most.
Brent had to get himself together though after that. He was like, hold on for a minute. Let me get myself together before he went to the next. Had to get himself together. She gave him a nice surprise. He didn't expect that.
So that the Franklins let them know that the next day they're gonna have to eliminate somebody. And what we find interesting is after that, the main cameras go away, but they still have a producer in there who's got a camera that's capturing everything that's going on. And
that's what they tell us, because that little producer camera don't look like. Anyway, that's a whole different. You just should have just kept the rest of the cameras. I mean, you got to cut time, but you got one dude making overtime. But anyway, let's go. I'm sorry.
And so we see Ashley having a conversation with Matthew. He shows her around her room or whatever. And, she was like, she's very attracted to Matthew, but she does want to see where it goes with the other guys. So she don't just want to hone in on one person. But she has a good time relating with Matthew. We see Jazzy talking to Brent in the kitchen. She's talking about, I'm not used to having to compete for attention. Brent calls her, she's like a homegirl, but it is more there because they have a mutual attraction. He says she is a little bit closed off, but he's looking to try to open her up. And he says, I have a lot of ladies here that some are shining brighter than others. We'll try to figure out what's what. And so then Lisa comes in and is like, hey, y'all know what y'all in here talking about. We're gonna come in here and play a game or whatever.
Yeah, like the conversation game, I think it was.
Yeah, and so that kind of goes off the rails.
Goes south quickly.
They have a whole conversation about what do you do if your partner leaves their phone there unlocked, and would you look at it? Would you go through it? Or what if somebody's calling? Would you answer it? And so Brent was like, no, I'm not gonna go through their phone. Like, why would I do that? That's her business or whatever. And so then Brian, who is Ashley's one of Ashley's students, he said, man, that's
goofy.
Like, you're a goofy if you don't look through it. It not so much looking for something, because they talk about that too. If you look for something, you're gonna find it.
Yeah, grandma said you look for something, you're gonna find it. What you looking for.
But Brian's thing is, if it's literally sitting there ringing and I see it's a guy calling, like, I'm going to answer the phone.
Right, and he also explains, when you talk about cheating, if somebody cheated on you or whatever, and you in that space where they're not being faithful, in the phone is there and it rings and there's a guy on there, you're not going to look at her phone.
Mm-hmm. And so in the process of him talking, Brian says, oh, goofy A. And he wasn't calling Brent a goofy A. He was just like, that's a goofy move. You don't look at it. And boy, why did he say that? Because that rubbed Brent the wrong way. And so they started going at it.
Brent had the other women were there. He was drinking a little alcohol.
Yeah. And
your manhood is being challenged in front of the women that you're trying to. Okay, he thinks his manhood is being challenged in front of the women that he's trying to impress. So he didn't let it go. No. And when I say he didn't let it go, Brian was kind of calm it down, and Brent just because I didn't think they would get to fisticuffs, but it was just two grown men arguing back and forth.
Not fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs, man. You know what it is. I the two grown men going back. If Kirk can say hanky panky, I can say fisticuffs. But anyway, two grown men going back and forth where everybody tried to shut it down, but Brent, when the thing is, what I got mad, Brent didn't know how to stop.
No.
And Brent didn't know how to say, you know what, I'm gonna shut it down. He got to the point where you in my mansion, dog. He became like really indignant. Saw a side that you didn't see.
Yeah, even to the point where Ashley was talking to Brian, trying to calm the situation down. And Brent was like, man, I don't want to hear you talk. Stop talking over there. And Ashley was like, but he's talking to me. She was like, go. He said, go talk to him somewhere else. Like, I don't want to hear his voice. I was like, yes, sir.
That's rude. Yeah, that's rude. He really got the alcohol started flowing. He became indignant. And it was terrible. It wasn't a good look.
No.
And if I was a female or anybody, that person, like, you know what, do I really want to be with this person?
Right.
When they get the drink. This is how you act when we out in public. This is how you act when somebody says something. Now, mind you, Brian was still egging Brent on. And Brian was kind of quiet, doing it, subtly. But Brent could have left. Brian could have left. It could have been, it's easy. It's your mansion, right? You're in this mansion. Hop up and leave the situation. Don't make an ace out of yourself in front of women that you're trying to impress. Because again, it's not that Ashley and Brent are choosing the suitors. We saw it in the last episode. The suitors are choosing them as well.
Right.
So they can say, you know what? I don't like you because I don't want to be with you because you displayed or you showed this, that, and the other. And so he forgot for the moment there that it wasn't all about him. He made it about him, but really the moment really wasn't all about him.
Right.
So
that's kind of where the episode closes, with them having this little semi-altercation, because they didn't come to fisticuffs.
They didn't come. Oh, you use my word fisticuffs? You better leave me alone. You better leave me and my fisticuffs alone. But they
did beef with each other pretty hard. So
yeah, I mean, everybody felt some type of way. It was kind of, you had a good night. Everything was going well, and you know how it is. Everything's going well. You got a good night. You got that one friend. Y'all getting ready to go home. That one friend that messed everything up. They bump into somebody at the club. They can't let stuff go. They step on somebody's shoe. It's something, right? There's always something. Their food is terrible. They send it back to the restaurant, and now they mad at the waitress or waiter. And you sitting there like, why don't you just shut up and eat the food? Or like, why did you have to pick a night? And now you said,
eat this food.
Right, and you sitting there in your mind like, man, this dude right here or this girl right here always bringing some stuff. There's always some stuff with them. And that's what it was. It seemed like there was always something going on. Now, granted, Brian could have kept his mouth closed as well. Ashley, I just have a problem with women try to calm a man down anyway. So you need to tell her.
But she didn't have a lot of comments. Brian was really low key with it. He didn't raise his voice or nothing. He didn't try to rush Brent. Brent was more rah than anything.
Yeah, so, Brent was more rah than what's his name? Brian. How they called him with the Black Jesus? That's your boy.
This is just me personally. Like, I like a beard. I don't like it when your beard comes like almost up to your eyes. Like, you can't even really see his face. I would like, it to be a little shaped out. But I mean, so each his own.
You like James Harden?
But James's don't look like that neither. And the other thing is, when you got a big beard and locks too, it just really drowns your face out. I can't even see your facial features. Like, I don't know.
So that's what the first night in the mansion. Drama, good times, also drama. Good times, drama. You had both in the mansion. Yeah. So we see what next week holds, because it's supposed to be a little bit of explosive episode. Somebody gets eliminated. All right, it will be elimination that happens on the next episode of the mansion, of the one. A man will go home. A woman will go home, and they will be down to 5. So I'm interested to see how that shapes out, and be interested to see how they talked about in previews that Brent had somebody in his room overnight. So we'll see who that is and how it shapes up. Hey, but make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you miss any of our reviews as we discuss the one on TV One. Man, we just want to make sure that we keep covering this. I like the show. I think it's a cute little show, good concept. I know people are giving Kirk Franklin a hard time because of showing some things that go on in the show, but hey, each his own. We all grow.
It's quite secular for it to be a show from a gospel artist, but you don't have no control over them. Kirk and Tammy ain't doing this stuff.
Yeah, they just set it up. But each his own. Hit the subscribe button, bell notification, let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you down the road with I guess episode 7, right? Episode 8. Episode 8 of the one. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.